party to stand.
Many don't really believe he has worked, but with what you've said, I realize that there are still people that still believe in the renewed hope agenda and the transformation agenda of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. To you, is very, very visible.
Exactly.
Why is it not visible to some?
The problem there is that you see, some people have zeroed their minds against the government, which is not supposed to be. Which is supposed not to be. Why? And the reason, politics, when you are contesting under a certain political party, you might have your manifesto and your agenda, but immediately that government is formed, you work together, you forget about the political differences. You work together in as much as that country belongs to you all. But because the opposition, they were looking by all means and ways to ensure that the sitting government does not have a credible performances. That was why they zeroed their mind towards seeing the betterment of the incumbent government. That is just it. I mean, they are being parochial. It's parochialism. It's parochialism. What is good is good. In the yesteryears, when our fathers, when we are running Western region, I mean, when they were running the Western government region, if our did a better agenda, others will, I mean, we give kudos to him what he has done. But this time around, we mean our mind too narrowed. Our mind, we are too sentimental. Let me see. That was the reason they failed to see what Bola Ahmed Tinubu, government is doing. Let me give you an instance. Alhaji Abubakar Atiku contested against Bola Ahmed Tinubu.
That's in 2023.
23. Peter Obi contested against Bola Ahmed Tinubu. And let's look at the dossier when they were in power. Alhaji Abubakar Atiku was the former vice president of the country under Ambassador administration, and you could recollect that during that period, I mean, Abubakar Mohammed was the chairman of privatization when they were privatizing the government parastatals. He was the chairman of all the privatization. You talk about NEPA, you talk about United, you talk about telecommunication, you talk about he was the one that privatized all those. And today, are we enjoying all those things? And what we had was that he sold, those parastatals to his colleagues, to his business partners. NEPA today, NEPA is not working today. Why will never work? Because they share it among themselves. Things have gone beyond beyond indescribable. It has gone beyond that. Is that Atiku that wants to come back and revive the economy for us? You recall it that when he was the governor of Anambra State, for almost 8 years, doctors were on strike. He could not pay local government staff money. Civil servants were on strike. Therefore, let's look at the dossier. We talk about Bola Ahmed Tinubu dossier in Lagos State. Immediately after Bola Ahmed Tinubu left power, he has been the one in control of the control of power. He has been able to succeed himself, and they were all doing well. We were all witnesses to what Rashala did when he was in power. We were all witnesses to what somebody did when he was in power. Somebody give kudos to him, one of the best governors we ever had in this country. Go to Alimasho, 21 roads in Alimasho. In every part of the state, he work assiduously. Go to Baga, go to Agege, go to Badagry. Go everywhere, you see the back of the government. We have someone today. You understand? That is the dossier. We are talking about the performer. Someone who knows where it is. Someone who knows the nitty-gritty of governance, administration. Unlike those who are jostling for power. They have been in power, they have been tested and they failed us. We've tested them and they failed us. They failed us. Halibontin issue is still, it's still there. You know what they were doing. Therefore, if someone is doing something good, give kudos to him, regardless of.
Yeah, you said we've tested these people and they failed us. Of course, there's a coalition plan going on. The likes of El Rufai, the former Kaduna State Governor, the former Vice President of Abubakar, also, did I say Obi? Yeah. Obi is not the one leading the coalition, but it's also part of the coalition ongoing in the country. This is to unseat President Bola Ahmed Tinubu come 2027. He said we've tested them, and they failed us. But in the 2 years of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, Nigerians said they've tested President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, and he has failed. It's not even up to 4 years. And they've seen failure in the administration of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Is it not totally a failure?
I absolutely disagree with that.
Look at insecurity. It seems the president is not doing well. He's not performing well in security. Just yesterday, the chief of army staff relocated to Benue State.
He's never won. Now we are talking 2 years. 2 years in power. 2 years in power.
But would he blame Nigerians?
We need to.
This is what Buhari told them. He pressured with him at the end of the day.
Buhari,
what ended it?
Buhari spent 4 years in power. What Buhari could not do in 4 years in power, Tinubu has been able to achieve partly. Those things
in 2 years.
In 2 years, insecurity we are talking about is a politically motivated agenda. Is politically motivated agenda because the opposition, what they were enjoying before the accession of Bola Tinubu in power, they could not be able to enjoy it any longer. That was why they were looking for all means and ways to ensure that they crumble the government. That was what they were doing. Are you aware that in another part of the country, some of the emirs were arrested? That they were conniving with the. Are you aware of that?
Terror group.
Terror group. Some of the local heads were arrested. You understand? That is to say, the problem is from the territory. It's inside. It's an inside
problem.
It's an inside problem. If the head of a community could be arrested, involved in terrorism. You know, do you expect the government to be going every nook and cranny of the country? It's not possible. You know, okay, let me give you an instance. When Ahmed was in power, he construed an agency called Lagos State Neighborhood Watch. LNSC, Lagos State Neighborhood Security Corps. What does that pretend? He pretends to keep community policing. They were in the community. You know,
just to police the community.
To police the community. The terms of reference is to ensure that they keep peace and perfection in every community. Therefore, if they see if there's any alert of insecurity, they will alert those in authorities. Now, when the head of the community is part of insecurity, how do you get rid of those who have been, that is to say,
those who are perpetrating?
That is to say, the children, the family, every one of them were part of that terrorism. Even in government, you can take soldiers down there. You can take the Nigerian army or whatever to that community. But Yoruba says the only what is happening, but they wouldn't know the inside out of that community. But it's the head of the community that will say, okay, there we have some bad boys there. Here we have some bad boys there. But because the head and the leaders of that community were part and parcel of the insecurity.
Now, if we could have the neighborhood watch in Lagos, what's stopping the president from having implementing community policing?
Thank you very much. That's a very good question. Very good question. the National Assembly, you know, the bill went to the National Assembly to discuss about, community policing, and agitation for and against. Some people were agitating that if they have a community policing or state policing, the governor of that state will be using it against the opposition. I mean, you understand? You're using it against the opposition.
Especially in elections.
During the election. That was what is still, withholding the passage of that bill. But I give you an instance. Former governor of Ondo State, Rotimi Akeredolu, when the insurgency came to Ondo State and they perpetrated a very heinous act during that period, he came out with Amotekun, the Western State governors.
Local security outfit.
Yes, they came out with Amotekun, and Amotekun today were doing handsomely well. They were doing handsomely well. Handsomely well, because they did it judiciously, meticulously, from their hearts. Not that they were saying something out from their mouth and they are doing something another thing behind. That was just it. But in that state, those two works doesn't. It doesn't, because the leader of the community, the community leader, the religious leaders, the whatsoever leaders, the emirs and the rest, those the community actors were part and parcel of insecurity. That was not what we are having in this part of the country. I read of Anambra State, what happened in Anambra State in the community where this insurgency, captivated most of the people. In this eastern state, what are the governors doing? What are they doing in western part of the country today? Do you heard about insecurity in the western part of the country? It's very minimal. I can't even say it's not pronounced. Because in the western state of Lagos State, we know ourselves. And that's been our culture. If my child is doing something that is wrong, I will be the one that will hand it over to the security agency. In Lagos State, you can see. In Ogun State, they are doing wonderfully well. In Oyo State, during when Buhari was in power, we were all living witness to what they did at Okigun over there. Yeah. Igboho came up. You understand? You understand? He faced them out.
Well, he was criticized.
Because the government of the day doesn't want peace.
That's what Muhammadu Buhari.
But Tinubu is doing everything possible.
But this same government produced Muhammadu Buhari now.
Yes, you are right. I can put him in power.
And this same Tinubu led him to victory.
You are right. We can belong to a simple political party. When you get to government, it's left to you. The government, the resources of the government is within your ambit.
Okay, which means you can be in the same political party with different ideology.
Then when you get to power, it's not left to you to either pursue the agenda of the party or you go your own way. That was just Obasanjo said it. He said, when he was inaugurating his advisor, he said, "You are my advisor. You can advise me, and it's left for me to either take your advice or not." The government produced Buhari, but when Buhari got to power, those that surrounded him, they turned the government against and when I met him, the president, for a day he mentioned it that me got contract nowhere. He said, throughout your years in government, I did not take contract from you. I did not partake in your government. You are doing your government, and because you derail from our agreement. He pronounced it. He made the pronouncement. You understand? Therefore, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, my appeal is that we Nigerians, let's be patient. Let's give Asiwaju a chance. He has spent 2 years in government, and I want to believe that before the end of this government 2027, we will see a tremendous, a resound administration, a resound change that we all are expecting of our desire. That this in Nigeria of our choice. That is just it. We need to be patient.
Is 2027 sure for him with the way the coalition is going?
Power belongs to God. Power, life, and everything belongs to God. Firstly, we need to give God all the adoration, because Yoruba says, a life that will not see tomorrow. That is making a budget for 20 years. May God spare our life till that 2027. But when it comes 2027, I want to believe that the incumbent administration's scorecard will determine whether he will come back or not. But me, I'm of the opinion that with trend of event presently and with his present scorecard, by 2027, we'll have Bola Tinubu for president for 2027 by his grace, inshallah.
All right, thank you so much. Your name again?
My name is Bajela, comrades Shiv Bajela Olukule Davis.
All right.
Seat to stand.